In a deeply moving turn of events amidst the raw turmoil of the Gaza conflict, Israel's military has confirmed the handover of a coffin containing the remains of a deceased hostage to the Red Cross in the southern part of the Gaza Strip, signaling that it's en route to IDF forces stationed there. But here's where it gets controversial. How much trust can we place in these fragile agreements? Stick around as we unpack the details, including the emotions running high in Israel and the accusations flying back and forth. Posting on X, the Israeli Defense Forces urged the public to handle the situation with utmost care and patience, emphasizing the need to await official confirmation of identity, which would initially be shared with the families. They highlighted that Hamas must fulfill its obligation to surrender all the bodies of the deceased hostages, aligning with the terms of the recent Gaza Ceasefire Pact. This announcement comes on the heels of an earlier Hamas declaration promising to deliver the body of an Israeli hostage on Friday. To provide some context for those new to this story, a ceasefire is essentially a temporary halt in hostilities, agreed upon by conflicting parties to reduce violence and allow for negotiations or humanitarian actions. In this case, Hamas has already handed over the remains of 9 out of the 28 hostages who perished in Gaza, alongside releasing all 20 of the living captives still held there. Yet, frustration in Israel is palpable because not all bodies have been returned as stipulated in last week's ceasefire arrangement, although the United States has minimized claims that this constitutes a full breach of the deal. In their late Friday posts on X, the IDF withheld specifics on the final destination of the hostage's coffin after the Red Cross transfer. Meanwhile, reports from the Times of Israel indicate that a modest ceremony, officiated by a military rabbi, is planned in Gaza, followed by transport to Tel Aviv for formal identification. Hamas, for its part, reiterated its dedication to the ceasefire, expressing strong intent to deliver all outstanding remains. And this is the part most people miss, the finger-pointing that's fueling the fire. The Palestinian group has accused Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu of obstructing their efforts to locate hostages' remains by barring access to heavy equipment and excavators in Gaza. Speaking during a commemoration for victims of the Hamas-orchestrated October 7, 2023 assault, Netanyahu affirmed his resolve to bring back the deceased hostages remaining in Gaza and vowed to combat terrorism with unyielding determination. As a component of the ceasefire brokered by US President Donald Trump, Israel released 250 Palestinian inmates from its prisons and 1,718 detainees from Gaza. After Hamas indicated difficulties in recovering all bodies, 2 high-ranking Trump advisors assured reporters that steps toward the agreement's next stage were proceeding. They maintained that the US administration hasn't yet deemed Hamas in violation of the pact, noting the group's goodwill in exchanging information with mediators. While the complete wording of the Israel-Hamas Accord remains undisclosed, a version that leaked in Israeli media, accessible at https://bbc.uk/news/articles ckgir8020, seems to acknowledge that not every body might be recoverable right away. To illustrate the broader conflict, Israel's military operation in Gaza was launched in retaliation to the attack where Hamas militants slaughtered around 1,200 individuals in southern Israel and abducted 251 others. Since that escalation, Israeli strikes have resulted in at least 67,967 fatalities in Gaza, per the Hamas-administered health ministry, figures the United Nations considers credible. But here's where opinions diverge sharply. Is Hamas genuinely struggling due to logistical hurdles, or is this a deliberate stalling tactic? Could Netanyahu's restrictions be a strategic move, or do they undermine the spirit of humanitarian recovery? The leaked agreement's flexibility on body retrieval adds another layer. Does it excuse incomplete compliance, or highlight flaws in the deal's design? These are the debates that keep international observers divided. What do you think? Is the ceasefire a genuine path to peace, or just a pause in a larger tragedy? Do you side with Israel's push for full accountability, or Hamas's claims of external interference? Share your perspectives in the comments below. I'd love to hear your take.